and friend, Mr. Neil DeGrasse Tyson, to the stage to share some personal reflections.
What I'd like to do is read for you a letter that I wrote to NASA in just a few minutes. But before I do that, I just want to share some quick thoughts that I had just sitting here in this room. I want you to take notice of the mission patches that are hanging up front here. If you're in the back, you know them, or you can look at them later. And I want you to take a look at the Apollo 11 patch. It's really unlike any other patch from any other mission. There is no red, white, and blue. There is no representation of hardware. There's not even the astronauts' names. Whatever was NASA's intent, I don't know, but I can tell you the effect of that. The effect of that is, it is an explicit and implicit statement that no, it was not an astronaut with a name who landed on the moon. It's a human being. It was an achievement of our species. And if you're going to represent the species, you don't put names on a patch. It's an accomplishment irrespective of the hardware. You don't put the hardware on there. We walked on the moon. Humans walked on the moon. For me, that patch rises high above all NASA patches for precisely that reason. Notice also, there's the lunar landscape and Earth. An important reminder. Yes, we went to the moon to explore the moon, but we discovered Earth for the first time. The birth of the modern conservation movement is traceable to the Apollo missions to the moon. There was some early seeds planted, yes, 1962, Silent Spring, Rachel Carson, yes, but there was no action based on that. No, Congress met and then they forgot about it. The country had other priorities. A hot war rising in Southeast Asia, Cold War, heating up further. 1962, the wall went up in Berlin. The hippie movement was not about conservation. It was an anti-war movement, initially. It was not until Apollo 8, with the Earthrise photo, and not until we started walking, going to the moon and walking, that people said, Earth matters. Yeah, we cared about pollution locally, clean up this stream, this lake, but no one thought about Earth holistically until we were walking on the moon. You want evidence of this? 1970, the Environmental Protection Agency is founded. Yeah, we had other issues to worry about. There was still a hot war, still a cold war. There was campus unrest. The civil rights movement wasn't fully done yet. Yet we found the time to create the Environmental Protection Agency. And think of the partisan politics that divides us today. Allow me to remind you that that happened under a Republican president. The Environmental Protection Agency was founded in 1970. Leaded gas gets banned. The Comprehensive Clean Air Act gets signed. The Comprehensive Clean Water Act. All of a sudden, people start thinking about Earth. Yeah, if you look at the cost of the Apollo program, $100 billion in today's dollars. $100 billion. So we found this urge, it's almost a guilt urge. It's like, oh, here's this spinoff, and here's this other thing, and here's the benefit here. Some benefit you can't put a price on. The fact that we all came together and said, Earth matters, because there it is, alone in a void of space, with ocean, land, clouds. Earth as nature intends you to see it, not with color-coded countries, as represented in your social studies class. No. We are alone on spaceship Earth. And a space program brings that cosmic perspective. And I ask you, how much is space exploration worth to you? Now, I'd like to end, it's a letter I'm going to read. I've had the occasion to collect my correspondence over the past several decades and put it in a book. It's not out yet, it comes out in the fall. It's called Letters from an Astrophysicist. It's my correspondence with mostly complete strangers who've written in with some kind of uncertainty in their life. And they're writing me to ask, no, not how far away is the sun, or what's the temperature of space. They have issues in their life, and they're coming to me with some hope and expectation that a cosmic perspective that I can bring to their letter can illuminate a path of decision-making that they need to take. The letters from people in prison, people who've just been notified by their doctor that they have a terminal illness. Letters from some children. In all cases, it's people in search of meaning in life. And I think it's pretty clear that the deepest meaning we can ascribe to life is not going to be found here on Earth. It's going to need to understand the entire universe to bring that into perspective. Some of the letters are just written not to anyone in particular, but to everyone. This is such a letter. Dear NASA, perhaps you didn't know, but we're the same age. In the first week of October 1958, you were born of the National Aeronautics and Space Act as a civilian space agency, while I was born of my mother in the East Bronx. So, the year-long celebration of our shared 60th anniversary provides me a unique occasion to reflect on our past, our present, and our future. I was 3 years old when John Glenn first orbited Earth. I was 7 when you lost astronauts Grissom, Chaffee, and White in a tragic fire of their Apollo 1 space capsule on the launch pad. I was 10 when you landed Armstrong, Aldrin, and Aldrin on the moon. And I was 14 when you stopped going to the moon altogether. Over that time, I was excited for you and for America. But the vicarious thrill of the journey, so prevalent in the hearts and minds of others, was absent from my emotions. I was obviously too young to be an astronaut, but I also knew that my skin color was much too dark for you to picture me as part of that epic adventure. Not only that, even though you're a civilian agency, your most celebrated astronauts were military pilots at a time when war was becoming less and less popular. During the 1960s, the civil rights movement was more real to me than it surely was to you. In fact, it took a directive from Vice President Johnson in 1963 to force you to hire black engineers at your prestigious Marshall Space Flight Center in Huntsville, Alabama. I found the correspondence in your archives. Do you remember? James Webb, then head of NASA, wrote to German rocket pioneer Werner von Braun, who headed the center, and who was the chief engineer of the entire manned space program. The letter boldly and bluntly directs von Braun to address the lack of equal employment opportunity for Negroes in the region, to collaborate with area colleges, Alabama A&M and Tuskegee Institute, to identify, train, and recruit qualified Negro engineers into the NASA Huntsville family. In 1964, you and I had not yet turned 6, when I saw picketers outside the newly built apartment complex of our choice in the Riverdale section of the Bronx. They were protesting to prevent Negro families, mine included, from moving there. I'm glad their efforts failed. These buildings were called, perhaps prophetically, the Sky View Apartments, on whose roof, 22 stories over the Bronx, I would later train my telescope on the universe. My father was active in the civil rights movement, working under New York City's Mayor Lindsay to create job opportunities for youth in the ghetto, as the inner city was called back then. Year after year, the forces operating against this effort were huge. Poor schools, bad teachers, meager resources, abject racism, and assassinated leaders. So while you were celebrating your monthly advances in space exploration, from Mercury to Gemini to Apollo, I was watching America do all it could do to marginalize who I was and what I wanted to become in life. I looked to you for guidance, for a vision statement that I could adapt, that would fuel my ambitions, but you were not there for me. Of course, I shouldn't blame you for society's woes. Your conduct was a symptom of Americans' habits, not a cause. I knew this. But you should nonetheless know that among my colleagues, I'm the rare few in my generation who became an astrophysicist in spite of your achievements in space, rather than because of them. For my inspiration, I instead turned to libraries, remaindered books on the cosmos from bookstores, my rooftop telescope, and the Hayden Planetarium. After some fits and starts through my years in school, where my ambition seemed, at times, to be a path of most resistance through an unwelcoming society, I became a professional scientist. I became an astrophysicist. Over the decades that followed, we've come a long way. Whoever does not yet recognize the value of this adventure to our nation's future soon will, as the rest of the developed and developing world seeks to pass us by in every measure of technological and economic strength. Not only that, these days you look much more like America. From your senior level managers to your most decorated astronauts. Congratulations. You now belong to the entire citizenry. I had even joined the ranks of your most trusted as I served dutifully on your prestigious advisory council. I came to recognize that when you're at your best, nothing in this world can inspire the dreams of a nation the way you can. Dreams fueled by a pipeline of ambitious students, eager to become scientists, engineers, and technologists in the service of the greatest quest there ever was. You have come to represent a fundamental part of America's identity, not only to itself, but to the world. So, as we continue our 61st trip around the sun, I want you to know that I feel your pains and share your joys. I look forward to seeing you back on the moon, but don't stop there. Mars beckons, as do destinations beyond. Space buddy, even if I have not always been, I am now and forevermore your humble servant.